Hello. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what yoga therapy is. So maybe you've been to a yoga class before and you noticed some benefits. You noticed something changing within you, maybe something happening inside your mind, happening inside your body. And you sort of took note. Yoga therapy is when you are in a relationship with the yoga therapist, you have trust and you really let that yoga therapist know what's on your mind, what's going on inside of your body. And together, the two of you harness your own growth mindset, your own healing potential. And it's even more than your healing potential. It's like your healing program. We are designed to be well, and we can take steps towards our wellness. Even if we're not like cured from this thing or that thing, we can still be on a path of well-being and have a sense of well-being. So yoga therapy is when you work one-on-one. It's usually at least 3 different sessions. The sessions last for about 60 minutes or so, maybe a little longer. And you do things like, you talk first, and you might fill out some forms, you might fill out an intake. The therapist might kind of ask about any injuries that you have had or are still dealing with. And as part of your time together, you might do some physical movements. You might do a yoga practice. You might do sun salutations. You might do things that you would recognize from a yoga class, but you do more of them, or you do a different flavor, something more specialized for you. You also might do very detailed breathing, very specific kinds of meditation. Sometimes, depending on the client, we might even do like some mind work. Now, it's not psychotherapy. It's not based in a diagnosis. It's not so much a fixing of anything. It's an exploring. It's a knowing. It's a relating. It's using our own capacity for wellness, for well-being, applied to our specific situations, whether that's a physical injury, emotional injury, something like that. You might have specific homework, and in fact, it's pretty important that you be ready to bring these things home, even if it's just 10 minutes a day. It's pretty important that you be able to work through any resistance that you have to that. Have you ever been to a physical therapist and then they give you the exercises and then you may or may not ever do the exercises at home? Yeah, it's not like that. Yeah, it's a really good idea to do your homework in yoga. It's a good idea to do your homework in physical therapy, I'm sure. But in yoga therapy, this really is a practice. Yoga in general is a practice. It's something we do every day, ideally. Because I'll tell you, the body patterns and the thought patterns and the tension patterns, those are happening every day. So our yoga therapy is kind of our daily antidote, kind of like a vitamin or an apple. Let's see, so that's a little bit about what happens in yoga therapy. There is an accrediting body, International Association of Yoga Therapists, I think it is, IAYT, probably .org. You could find out more about yoga therapy. I don't really want to say anything about clients. I have to tell you though, every single client that I've worked with says something along the lines of, wow, that was amazing. This is amazing. I wish I'd known about this sooner. I have had yoga therapy, and I definitely have that experience. And I've had lots of different things happen in my yoga therapy sessions. It really does depend on what's going on. I'm talking about me as the client. I don't want to talk about other people's work that I'm doing with them. But so for me as the client, one time I was just feeling really joyful and strong, and I needed to do a vigorous yoga practice, and we did that. And it was wonderful. One time I needed to really focus on my backline muscle releases, and we did that. Yeah, all different things can come up in a yoga therapy session. You can learn more about yoga therapy at iayt.org. You can reach out to me, Cami, at Gentle Yoga, GNTL. It's gentle with no E's. It's an acronym. Gentleyoga.com. Cami is Kami. Cami at gentleyoga.com. I've got a little bit of information about what yoga therapy is on that website, gentleyoga.com. You can book a free 30-minute consultation with me, and we can go through what your goals are and maybe give you some initial practices to look into and see how you like it. Yoga therapy, it can be a little expensive. It's not covered by any insurance or anything. So there's that. We do work with physical therapists and chiropractors and psychotherapists and dietitians. So I share referrals with all different kinds of professionals. Yeah, so it can definitely be in tandem with whatever other healthcare practices you're looking into. Oh, a note about the dietitian thing. So as part of yoga, we have the sister science called Ayurveda, and there are certified Ayurveda practitioners. I am not one of those. I do know a little bit about Ayurveda, enough to kind of, we can explore a few things with Ayurveda, and maybe I would know enough to let you know if you want to go see a real expert, someone who's been trained specifically in that. It takes a long time. I'm not one of those. I am a level 1 yoga therapist, and I'm in training to become a fully certified yoga therapist. CYT will be my initials at that point. I do need to take on some practicum clients. So if you'd like, we could do some practicum work together. And if you need a reduced rate for that, I would be willing to do that. Can't do it for free though. So I am sorry about the money part, because it can be a barrier. I might have access to some, I guess we would kind of call it scholarship funding. I might have access to some scholarship funding if you really think that yoga therapy could be something beneficial for you. And the financial piece is a block. You could email me and let me know, and I could look into that a little bit, because it can be an equity issue, the financial piece. But yeah, basically, it's about as much as a really good cut and color. So, yeah. But as part of my practicum, I could reduce that rate a little bit. So let's see if there's anything else you might want to know about yoga therapy. I guess a little bit more about me is that I am also a certified health coach, and there are similarities between me as a practitioner doing certified health coaching and then me as a practitioner doing yoga therapy. There are similarities, especially the focus on the growth mindset and the focus on the inherent health and wellness that is inside of us. And it can be kind of blocked. And there are specific ways that we can slowly learn to access and undo, and sometimes not slowly. Sometimes the work is kind of quick. So that is a similarity, that growth mindset, positive psychology take on it. But in yoga therapy, it's not only psychology. It's not mostly Western. So that's a divergence there, is that yoga therapy is steeped in Eastern traditions, specifically of the Indus Valley region and the subcontinent of India and the various people who have worked in this field for thousands of years. Yeah, it's an old, very established practice. So that's a big difference. Another really big difference, and I joke about this with my clients, is that in coaching, I have on my coaching hat. When I have on my coaching hat, I don't tell the client what to do. I listen, I reflect, I ask questions a certain way. Oftentimes we're speaking on the phone. We have these ongoing conversations and we check in on, different things. And that relationship, for the most part, is every week for at least 12 weeks. That's coaching. And I don't put on my expert hat. I don't tell the client what to do. I don't lead the client through practices. It's different. And I went through extensive training to learn how to do that and what to do. In yoga therapy, I do tell the client what to do. I do lead the client through practices. I give the client homework. The client agrees and we come to a mutual understanding, and it's all based on what the client is expressing. But that's a really big difference. And then sometimes, especially, so in yoga therapy, I can use some of my coaching techniques like motivational interviewing and rolling with resistance and different things that we do in coaching. I can bring that in pretty seamlessly. When I'm being a coach with someone, it's a lot more abrupt if I were to just start being a yoga therapist. So I do this very sparingly, but if something comes up, let's say a client asks a very pointed, specific question that I 100% know the answer to, If I think it's in the client's best interest, I will entertain the question. If I think it's in the client's best interest, I'll just keep listening. And, we just kind of see. But if I'm going to entertain the question, I'll say something like, do you want me to put on my expert hat? Do you want me to put on my yoga therapy hat? Or do you want me to just keep my coaching hat on? And I just make it very obvious. Health coaching is its own thing. And it's health well-being coaching. We look at all different kinds of life. It's pretty neat. So the coaching is neat and the yoga therapy is neat. And they work together really, really well. If you have the kind of logic mind that wants to know what the hierarchy is, I'm still working that out for myself. I think where I've landed is that yoga therapy includes coaching. It can include what a coach does. It's a different kind of relationship though. It's really, really important that the coaching relationship is a certain way and the yoga therapist relationship is a certain way. But if we were going to have nesting dolls, I'm pretty sure I would put the coaching doll inside of the larger yoga therapy doll. And that brings us to a question, well, do clients ever do both? Yes, with me, definitely. That's one of my differentiators as a practitioner, is that I can offer both. And very often in the coaching relationship, we will set aside special times to do one therapy session per month, for example, something like that. And then, I already kind of talked about bringing coaching in. I can do that pretty seamlessly and not much. It's more just like when the client is talking. I respond like a coach sometimes. And then sometimes there are clients who, let's say they came to me for yoga therapy and then they're having a blocker to their wellness vision and they need ongoing coaching. And so then we switch to a coaching relationship. So 2 separate agreements, 2 separate payment structures. But people definitely do both. And then these clients come to my classes and my workshops too. When I say that it's a relationship, I mean, they don't have to. But when I say that it's a relationship, I truly mean that. It's, when you're working with a psychotherapist, you would not really, if they happen to be a yoga teacher, you wouldn't necessarily also go to their yoga class. I don't know, maybe you would. I don't know. I'm not a psychotherapist. But it seems like in some realms you have these very strict boundaries. And in coaching and yoga therapy and yoga, we have boundaries around the agreements and that kind of thing. But we have freedom to explore, if someone's been a client in coaching or yoga therapy and then that sort of comes to an end and they just want to start coming to yoga classes, and vice versa. They've been in yoga classes and then workshops and then they do some coaching and then they do some yoga therapy. It's more fluid. It's like you become part of an ecosystem. And so now I guess the last thing I'll do is tell you what GNTL stands for. It's Guided Natural Teaching for Life. Guided Natural Teaching for Life. And we've done disaster recovery with people. We've done couples resiliency. We've done all different kinds of work inside of the GNTL ecosystem. And actually the name of the company is Gentle Continuum. And it's a continuum. So I'm realizing I just kind of talked you through some details of the continuum. So there's more about yoga therapy. Please reach out if you have any questions. I will put a link, I'll put my email below, and I'll also put a link to book a free 30-minute call with me to kind of figure out, what might be a good fit, anything you'd like to know or explore. So thank you so much, and I will see you soon. Bye.